Hi there, I'm Jocelyn, and we are currently exploring structured literacy in the upper primary through this knowledge building series of 10 clips. This is clip number 8. I've been talking in the clips leading up to this one a lot about whole class teaching and differentiating or adjustment in the support that we provide rather than adjusting the content. And so I want to give you some specifics around what that can look like. So the first thing I'm going to say is teach explicitly. When we teach explicitly, as in I teach first, you have a go, then I ask you questions, essentially the I do, we do, you do, that supports students. Expecting that you're going to provide them with an experience and that they will draw the learning out of that leaves so many students out in the cold. And in fact, most students are novices in the primary school, and so they need structured teaching, and that is supported by the research evidence. So number 1, teach explicitly. Number 2, use technology. So when it comes to reading, if we're reading a whole class text, whether that be a short story or whether it be a novel, select text that can either be presented as a PDF on a website or as an ebook on your iPad or your tablet device. What that does, it enables you to change up how the reading happens without leaving some children needing to have someone read to them. So some of that text will be you reading aloud, some of that text will be with partners reading, some of that text will be read independently in accountable independent reading situations, which are described in Reading Reconsidered. So using technology is a really empowering thing. What that will look like is that for a portion of the text, the student who genuinely can't decode that text that you're asking them to engage with can pop some earbuds in. They can listen with the text-to-speech function, which is so good these days. You don't need special software. They can listen to that short paragraph and engage with that content with their peers. It also means that we're protecting their dignity, and particularly in year 5 and 6, we have to be very conscious of helping children feel successful and not feel different. So not having to have an adult read that to them, everyone else is quiet and there's an adult reading to that child, how mortifying for them. So and using technology to protect dignity, to enable access. It's not cheating. We are still going to be teaching phonics and decoding and supporting that children to develop those foundational skills, but what we're talking about is working with a rich text, and we need to enable all the students to do that. The other area that technology can be used is in a speech to print or a speech to text function. That can be really useful for longer texts. When it comes to things like morphology, which we want to be using low variance routines with and teaching whole class, some of the things that I've done, these are some of the resources out of the resource room, but you can do this on your own with your own stuff. So I'm just going to see if my camera will pick that up. Yes, there we go. So the first 5 words are the basic code only and the new morpheme we're learning. The second 5 are a little bit more complex, and then the third 5 may have multiple suffixes, or there's something about them that there may be less common words that children will encounter that just increases the difficulty a little bit. Now, I would like to think that even students with dyslexia and other learning difficulties can tackle all 15 of those words, but you may have students with, really they're tier 3 students. They may have diagnosed disability. There could be something else going on for them. They deserve age-appropriate instruction. What a list like the one I've just shown you does is it differentiates the support. So those students will participate in that lesson about the prefix in, the same as everybody else, but when it comes to them working independently or putting pencil to paper, they've got a list of words that they can access. They're still learning the concept and the skill, but we're not overloading them cognitively. But don't discount your kids with dyslexia. Morphology instruction has been shown to have significant impacts on student with disability and learning difficulty, and so it's a really inclusive practice. The final thing is break things up into small chunks. So when it comes to writing, one of the challenges children may have is that they can't hold all of the details of the text they want to write all in their head at once. So you're going to have the same lead up lessons. Everyone's going to write a narrative, or everyone's going to write that information report. But the differentiation of support looks like some children just go off and do the whole thing on their own because they can. But other children may be working in small chunks, or most of the class may be working with you, and we're all going to talk with a partner about the setting of our story. Then we're going to make notes, and then we're going to write. Then we're going to come back and we're going to have the introduction or the first event in our story. We're going to talk to our partner, we're going to make some notes, and then we're going to write. And we repeat that process, that I do, we do, you do, for every step of the writing. Now, that will frustrate your high-flying students. Just let them go. If they can write 4 really high-quality A4 pages, they can knock their socks off and go and do that. But for your students who need the support, this is going to enable them to complete those longer pieces of text that you're looking for without overloading them. Always talk first before writing. I can't say that enough. So when it comes to supporting children who need that little bit extra in your whole class instruction, here are the dot points. Always teach explicitly. I do, we do, you do. Make the we do with partners, not you and one child who puts their hand up. Everybody participates. Full participation is the key. Then in the you do, you differentiate the support. Use technology for both reading and writing where it's needed and appropriate, and break things down into small chunks, as we've done with the morphology list, where we have less and more complex words. So we're breaking these things down so we can meet students where they're up to, while having high expectations for all students in our class.